I just got an email from someone saying, quit interrupting your guests all the time. And then I just ripped up the email. Meanwhile, forget Volt sales that are far from catching fire. Apparently, the cars really are in danger of catching fire. GM is recalling nearly 8,000 Chevy Volts for what they're calling enhancements. I actually hate when people do that, but that's what they're calling them, enhancements, aimed at preventing the battery from bursting into flames. The National Legal and Policy Center's Paul Chesser says that this recall should be a wake-up call for the government to just stop this nonsense. Just get out of this whole subsidizing, tax crediting, everything having to do with this stuff, right?
Neil, you're not supposed to call it a recall. GM's not calling it a recall. The government's not calling it a recall.
What is it?
It's short of a recall. They're just asking nicely for people to bring the cars back so they can take care of this little leak that they have, this coolant problem leak.
What does the letter say, Paul?
Well, I haven't read the letter, but it says that they have this coolant leak around the battery. They're going to strengthen the structure around the battery pack and put a sensor on the battery.
But they don't say you might want to bring it in because there's just the tedious little possibility it could blow up on you.
Well, National Highway Transportation Safety Administration is not calling this a recall, so therefore it's not an official recall.
Okay. But it is an enhancement.
So, you know, get it straight. But, you know, it's a recall, and they're calling these things back, and, you know, this is what you get when government is trying to force and subsidize a technology into the market that's not ready for it. They've pushed these things out. They've pushed the cars out. They've pushed the charger system out. They've pushed the batteries out, all subsidized by taxpayers, and therefore there wasn't any risk to GM. There wasn't any risk to private business to be more careful about the product they put out there, and because the taxpayers can handle it. So this is the kind of thing that we see.
They had paltry sales of this thing. I always thought, no matter what you think of this vehicle, and I think it's stupid. That's my bias. I'm sorry. But if people really wanted it, they would buy it. Right? And when you're throwing subsidies, $7,500, you know, cash back to get it now, a credit, and then the cost of the vehicle itself would even be much, much more expensive if not for the government protections afforded it, and people still aren't buying it, that should tell you something, right?
That's right. Well, last time I was on with you, Neil, USA Today was reporting has the EV lost its spark, and we said it's never had a spark, and this is the kind of spark that they don't want, the spark that causes fires. And there was a story a couple of weeks ago that found that there was $250,000 per car subsidizing the Volt. The other vehicle,
does the Nissan Leaf, it doesn't get any subsidies, right? And it's, by comparison, selling much better, right?
They got a $1.4 billion loan guarantee from the Department of Energy to retrofit a plant in Tennessee to build the Leaf. Carlos Ghosn, the CEO of Nissan, has said that wherever the subsidies are, that's where he's going to go. Well, Portugal dropped the subsidies for a manufacturing plant. So what did Nissan do? They shut down that plant. To be fair, Paul, you're of the mindset, just to get clear, you don't like subsidies for anybody, right? I mean, you don't think that should be happening at all, let alone for an industry right now that's as untested and clearly unproven as this. Well, can we afford them is one thing. The other thing is, you know, let the free market determine whether these things will be successful or not.
Well, there's a concept. There's a concept. Very good having you, Paul. Thank you very much. Paul Chesser.
Thanks, Neil.